Note that having known Dr. Presley since his graduate days at Oklahoma State, I have a little sense of co-ownership along with Congressman Nagelbauer down there. That said, Doc, let's turn to you for a couple of questions. Number one, in addressing the issues, and the panel's laid out very well today, the challenges we face, the ultimate goal of what we try to do, but there's the short-term solution, there's the long-term solution. Talk for a moment about, and you discussed this earlier, about the mosquito control perspective for a homeowner, whether it's Lubbock or Stillwater or anywhere where this may be an issue. You've described how the traditional mass fogging systems going down the street won't get everywhere. I know historically in the past we've done aerial spraying in certain cases. Tell me, as I talk to my constituents, the off-the-shelf products you're talking about, what kind of cost are we talking about for a homeowner to protect him or herself in their backyard? It's not particularly expensive, correct?
No,
it's the efforts involved?
No, sir. You can buy a home thermal fogger, which creates a cloud, a smoke cloud essentially, in your backyard that will penetrate vegetation, and you can buy the pesticides. You can buy the thermal fogger for a couple of $100, a very good one. And then the pesticides maybe $20 or $30 a month to keep mosquitoes down in your yard. The issue with these mosquitoes, Albopictus and Aegypti, is they stay pretty close to where they are hatched, about 200 yards, 300 yards in an area. The foggers that drive up and down the streets are really for mosquitoes like Culex tarsalis that vectors West Nile virus. And that, with the restrictions and how we've refined pesticide application, you're relying on a small droplet of that insecticide impinging on the mosquito while in flight. That's effective for crepuscular biters or mosquitoes that bite at night or between sunset, dusk, and dawn. Because with Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, they're daytime biters primarily. So spraying with a fogger depends on before the thermal inversion occurs. When the sun comes up and the ground begins to heat, the currents are upwards. So these fogs, these clouds that you spray out of a ULV machine driving up and down the street will rise and dissipate. You're trying to get, with these daytime biters, treating early in the morning with a fogger or a thermal fogger or a spray, just a wand spray, treating under the eaves of houses, around doors and windows and vegetation. It's a completely different strategy for vector control. It comes into personal or private property issues, all of that. The homeowner is going to be responsible for dumping that bottle cap full of water, or that toy dump truck in the backyard, or anything that can collect water is a good breeding site for these mosquitoes.
But our fellow citizens have the ability to protect themselves if they'll take action based on the right information.
Yes, sir, and there are numerous over-the-counter, off-the-shelf products that can be bought at any big box garden store or home improvement center.
Now let's go to the next step. Mr. Parr is discussing an effort at a long-term solution. You mentioned the screwworm program. So successful since the 1950s that most people don't even know that it exists. Would you expand on the problem we faced in the Southwest, in the South for that matter, what the solution was and how it has continued to be effective since then?
Oh, the sterile male release of screwworm flies. The primary screwworm, they're a blowfly. They would oviposit or larvaposit their maggots into a wound, and that particular screw fly would eat living flesh. Other blowflies will just...
And any cattleman 65 years or older in Texas or Oklahoma will tell you it was a horrible thing.
And not only cattle, wildlife, white-tailed deer, everything was affected. They came up with a sterile male screw fly release program where they irradiated the males and released them. This particular species only bred once, the females, so it stopped the progression, and it essentially stopped.
For 50 years now.
There still are cases, but it's very controllable and managed on the Texas border now.
So we have a track record of using these type technologies to make a real difference, systematic and in the long haul.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr.